Your life can change instantaneously because of an innocent activity. When you need the services of someone like Chris and Mike, it's not a particularly good time in your life. Those people enter your life at times of unbelievable stress, at a period of fear, and that was our case.
Like any other Saturday morning, Mark got up, kissed me goodbye, off for his bike ride.
We were early into the ride on a piece of road that I've ridden more than 1,000 times. My front wheel prematurely released from my fork. It caused my bike to flip over while I was on it, and I snapped my neck.
I arrived running into the emergency room.
First time you were early for anything.
This is true.
2 roses and a thorn.
And they had come out and said at that point that he had a spinal cord injury, and this was the exact same injury that Christopher Reeve had. And I felt like the wind was just knocked out of me.
I could not move anything for months. It's a horrible way to live. It's incredibly terrifying. If you fall off your bike and you break your neck, become a quadriplegic, that is as kin to a death sentence in life as there could possibly be. That's life-changing.
It was a scary time.
It was.
We first met the Stephans when they were unquestionably at their lowest point, and they had so many things to figure out.
Chris and Mike, they just had this compassion about them. From that moment on, we knew that they had our best interests at heart.
The way that Chris and Mike made themselves available to us was invaluable.
The first thing we want the people that we represent to understand is that we are in this with you all the way to the end. We want to take the burden of that fear on our shoulders. We want them to concentrate on getting their life back together.
They became part of our journey at that point, and they immediately began the information gathering process.
What seemed like a simple story had an infinite number of variables.
Every stone has to be turned over to make sure we don't miss a tiny detail that would change the outcome of a case. He was riding down a flat stretch of road and he hit about a 2-inch bump, and the front wheel of his bike disengaged, and the wheel came and separated from the fork in a way that caused the rest of the bike to come down on top of the wheel, and then he catapulted over the top of the handlebars and hit head first directly into the pavement. Affected his whole body from really the neck down.
We left the hospital as a quadriplegic. It was very clear with me that I would live a severely impaired life the rest of my life.
It was hard, and there were a lot of finances other than just, okay, we're putting food on the table and we can stay in our house. There were also the expenses of Mark's rehab and benefiting him as far as his progress.
For Mark, it was always about making sure he could care for his family, making sure that this never happened to anyone else.
I was really in the role of provider, and when you lose that ability, it creates quite a bit of angst.
I guess you just keep thinking, you know, there's hope.
One day at a time. Finally, at one point, a doctor said, try to move your toe, and I'll be damned, I moved my toe, and now I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand, I couldn't do anything, but a toe moved, and that was a big deal.
So I watched him in rehabilitation take little cotton balls and lift them 2 inches and put them into a cup. He had to use every muscle in his body.
Every time you got a muscle to move, you work the heck out of it until another one moved right near it, and that was our process every single day.
Any progress was good progress. Chris and Mike, they focused on the same things we were focusing on.
That was unbelievable. 1.4. Oh my God.
They knew every part of the journey we've been on from the beginning.
I have a picture that comes into my mind, and it's me walking, or it's me running, or it's me swimming, or it's me playing golf. You do have to change the landscape in your mind, and that is the power of the human spirit. That's what we all have inside of us.
Before I even knew about the ride, it was well beyond the planning stages. It was in the we're doing it stage.
My dream of riding cross country wasn't an initial spark. It was a flame already inside, but every day I got stronger, it got a little brighter.
The idea of this man riding across the United States was absurd. Everybody said he couldn't do it.
I thought, well, if he does that, I'm going to go down and join him. And so Mike Mertz and I went down and joined him, and we rode during a thunderstorm and pouring rain. And every time I felt the urge to complain, I looked over at Stephan, who is a partial quadriplegic, and he had a big smile on his face. He inspires me every time I see him, every time I talk to him, and he's really the reason that we do what we do.
When we represent people, they're not just our clients, they become a part of our community, they become our friends.
They separated us from the things that we could not control. They took it on themselves to bear the burden of being our advocate, and they allowed us the opportunity to focus on the healing process, and they were part of that healing process.
In his case, there have been changes made to every bicycle that's sold in the United States of America, which will prevent his accident from happening to anyone else.
If anyone saw us walking down the street, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close from where we came. So it's pretty perfect to me.